Hi everyone. My research topic is focused on an investigation of technology design features for supporting real-time collaborative programming in an educational environment. So here's an agenda for this presentation. I'll first talk about an introduction including the problem statement and my research goals and objectives. I'll next talk about the related work, and that will actually bring out my research questions. Then I'll talk about the methodologies that I plan to use in this research, including the data collection method and data analysis method. So what is the problem? Being an IST student for many years, I've actually realized that there are no technologies that would be most appropriate for students to use while completing object-oriented programming project collaboratively in real time. I've realized that students often use separated tools to support their collaboration process for programming projects. The main types of tools they've been using are code for code development, for communication, and for code share. So what are my research interests and motivation? In this research, I'm actually seeking to understand the collaboration process for object-oriented programming team projects as a whole. I'm also exploring the design recommendations for how to create an appropriate real-time collaborative programming tool from an educational perspective. Um, for related work, I'm actually looking at several areas, including synchronous collaborative programming, real-time collaborative editing, collaborative learning, pair programming, computer-mediated communication, and feature analysis of existing tools for synchronous programming. Due to the time constraint, I'm only going to focus on three of them, which are real-time collaborative editing, collaborative learning, and computer-mediated communication. In Greenberg and Marwood's 1994 paper, they've mentioned that real-time collaborative editing actually allows people who are geographically separated to work together. It has a lot of benefits, including, again, increased information access, encourage parallel work within a group, helps to prevent information loss, and also to make learning a natural aspect of tool use. Real-time collaborative editing can also generate higher level of learning performance, higher quality decisions, and higher quality reports. It can also allow students to participate in the learning process more equally, to engage in discussions that are more complex and challenging. In Carroll et al.'s 2015 paper, they mentioned that collaborative learning can enhance students' own understanding by explaining concepts to less advanced students. They can also benefit themselves by receiving help from other more advanced students. There are three specific criteria that are mentioned in Dillenberg's 1999 paper, which are interactivity, synchronicity, and negotiability. Another area I've looked at is computer-mediated communication, which is abbreviated as CMC. So in Holland and Stornetten's 1992 paper, being there, they actually have mentioned several benefits, including that CMC allows digital record of communication, increases the perceived social distance between collaborators, and it can be integrated into other task supporting tools, which is considered to be a more important one in this design. So there are several technologies that I've looked at, um, that are available for users to use. which are CodePad, CoderPad, Collab Edit, Etherpad, CodeBunk, CodeShare, and Cloud9. Due to time constraint, I'm not going to explain them one by one. I'm only focusing on Cloud9 for this research. So that actually bring out my research question. What features should appear in a tool designed to support small group real-time collaborative programming in an educational setting? The second question is, to what extent can these features help students in learning programming collaboratively? So next I'll talk about the methods I'm uh, using for this research. Including the participant recruitment method, data collection method, and data analysis method. So to be qualified for this research, to participate in this research, students have to have at least the novice level of understanding for OOP, um, and I plan to use a mix of convenience sampling and snowball sampling for this recruitment method. I also included instructors in this research because I just want to have a basic understanding of what their teaching objectives and what they would expect students to learn in such courses. For demographic, I plan to include both male, female, undergraduate, graduate, instructor, and different race of students. For this research, I applied scenario-based design to consider the likely usage scenarios for using Cloud9 in a team project based on my own experience. And I also use this framework to identify the limitations, both for this tool's strength and weakness, and also use it to generate design ideas and address the limitation. I then use novel technology concepts to create an enhanced design of a prototype tool. And then I create script to conduct semi-structured interviews to share my design ideas in a logical sequence. So here is a framework of how I would conduct the semi-structured interviews. Due to the time constraint, I won't go through each of the box. Basically, I'll present a scenario and then present the prototype and then obtain reactions, opinions, thoughts, and then I repeat this process until the last prototype is presented. And then we will hold final discussion and to raise questions, concerns, and additional suggestions. For data analysis, I plan to use interview transcription. So I plan to transcribe everything into text and then apply the coding technique, specifically running thematic analysis and content analysis. Then I use thematic analysis to put everything into themes that are meaningful and valuable, and then I plan to use content analysis to count the frequencies of how a certain theme that I'm looking for has happened, like how many times it has happened. Then I plan to use SPSS to run descriptive analysis to check to see if certain functionalities are bringing significant impact to the students. So here are the questions. Do you think how big the sample size it should be for my recruitment, and do you think the recruitment method that I'm using are the best for this study, and do you think the descriptive analysis is the best analysis way that I can use in SPSS. Thank you for listening to my presentation.